Worship in silence under a different king. The alarm goes off, and we silence it before the second tone. The room is still dark. We sit on the edge of the bed for a moment, not because anything is wrong, just because getting up feels heavier than it used to. The house is quiet. Coffee starts to drip. We open the same Bible we've opened for years. The words are steady, true, familiar. We read a paragraph. We underline a phrase. We bow our heads and whisper a prayer, and we wait. Nothing. Not doubt, not anger, not rebellion. Just a kind of thin quiet. We ask again. We tell God we are here. We ask Him to meet us. Still nothing. On Sunday we stand and sing. The lyrics are strong. The people around us seem engaged. We sing too. We mean the words. But somewhere in the middle of it, a thought slips in. Wasn't this supposed to feel more alive than this? And before long, a quieter question follows behind it. What am I doing wrong? We are not planning to leave. Nothing in us wants another king. We are committed. We love Him. That is what makes the silence confusing. So we adjust. We lower our expectations. We tell ourselves maybe this is just what maturity feels like. We keep showing up. We keep serving. We keep nodding at the right moments. And we stop talking about it because saying it out loud feels dangerous. What if someone hears doubt where there is none? What if asking the question sounds like disloyalty? So we tuck the ache away. We smile, we sing, we bow our heads. And somewhere deep inside, we decide this must simply be our burden to carry quietly. We are not the first to feel this. Long before us, another worshiper stood inside the same quiet confusion. My God, why have you forsaken me? Psalm 22:1. That is not the language of abandonment. That is the language of relationship. He does not say God. He says, my God. Even inside the question, the covenant remains intact. But I cry by day, but you do not answer, and by night, but I find no rest. Psalm 22:2. He felt unheard. He felt exposed. He felt surrounded by voices that mocked his trust. And yet he kept praying. He kept saying, my God. The psalm did not end where it began. You have rescued me from the horns of the wild oxen. Psalm 22:21. Somewhere between the cry and the rescue, something unfolded. Not because David manufactured emotion. Not because he forced faith, but because covenant reality was never suspended, even when it felt thin. And then centuries later, a man hangs on a cross and speaks the opening line of that same psalm. My God, why have you forsaken me? Psalm 22:1. To some, it sounded like defeat. To others, it may have sounded like confusion. But those who knew the psalm knew it did not end there. He was not unraveling. He was revealing. He knew the psalm. He knew how it moved. He knew what his enemies saw, apparent victory. He knew what his followers felt, loss and confusion. So he pointed them to the whole psalm, not to echo abandonment, but to anchor the moment in promise. What they were witnessing had been written centuries before: mockery, exposure, pierced hands, divided garments, and rescue. The cross was not chaos, it was fulfillment. The Father had not abandoned the Son. The covenant had not fractured. The darkest hour in history was not divine absence. It was redemption taking shape. If the cross was not abandonment, then our quiet seasons are not proof of distance. If the covenant held there, it holds here. This is what life under a different king looks like. Not constant intensity, not unbroken emotional warmth, but steady allegiance when feelings thin and silence lingers. Worship in silence is not pretending everything feels alive. It is staying. It is lifting our voices when they feel ordinary. It is opening the scriptures when they feel familiar. It is refusing to walk away simply because sensation has faded. The kingdom does not only form passion, it forms endurance, it forms depth. It forms people who can remain when the music softens and the heavens feel still. Silence does not mean distance. Hiddenness does not mean absence. And what feels thin today may be roots growing deeper than we realize. As you sit with this teaching today, take a moment to reflect on where this feels most personal for you. Where have you quietly wondered what might be wrong? Where have you lowered your expectations of closeness with God? And where might Jesus be inviting you not to manufacture feeling, but to remain under His reign even when it feels silent? If you're willing, share your reflections or questions in the comments so we can learn and walk this journey together.